I've been a men's health specialist for over 30 years. I've seen it all. But there's one thing that still breaks my heart when a man over 60 walks into my office and, after a long pause, finally leans in and whispers something he's been too ashamed to admit out loud. I just don't feel like a man anymore. They say it with their eyes cast down, embarrassed, sometimes even afraid. I avoid intimacy. I pretend I'm tired, tell my wife it's stress. But deep down, I'm scared something's wrong with me. If you've ever had those thoughts, that feels a little too familiar. I want you to know, you're not alone. I've sat across from hundreds of men who carry that same quiet frustration. Good men, proud men. Men who once felt strong, virile, and full of life, but now feel like something important has slipped away. And here's the truth: most doctors won't tell you what you're going through isn't your fault. It's not just getting older, and you're not broken. But what if I told you that? The key to reversing this feeling of getting your spark back might not be in a prescription, a pump, or a pill, but in something far simpler? What if I told you it could start with, what do you eat specifically? Something you eat right before bed? Yes, there's a way to support your circulation down there while you sleep. It's something you can begin doing tonight. Stick with me, because what I'm about to share contradicts everything you've likely been told. And more importantly, it could be the first step in taking your confidence and your manhood back. Let me tell you about a man named Jack. Jack's 67. Lives in Ohio and spent most of his life working as a high school basketball coach. Tough guy, loud laugh. The kind of man you'd expect to have it all together. But when Jack came to see me, he was different. Quiet. Nervous, he said. Doc, I feel like a shell of who I used to be. I still love my wife, but I avoid her in bed. Not because I don't want her, but because I'm afraid I'll disappoint her again. I asked Jack a few questions, and pretty quickly, I saw what was happening. Like many men over 60, Jack's circulation was declining. It's not just in his heart or legs, but in the place no one talks about. See, as we age, the body produces less nitric oxide. That's the molecule responsible for relaxing and expanding blood vessels. When nitric oxide levels drop, blood doesn't flow like it used to, and that directly affects performance, sensitivity, stamina, all of it. Now here's the part most doctors overlook. Nitric oxide levels are closely tied to what you eat and when you eat it. So I gave Jack a simple nighttime recommendation. Before bed, told him I want you to eat a small serving of one very specific food. Beets. He raised an eyebrow. Beets. Yes, beets. They're rich in natural nitrates, which the body converts into nitric oxide. But there's a catch: you need to eat them at the right time, in the right way. When you consume beets before sleep, your body has all night to convert those compounds, improving circulation gradually and steadily right when your system naturally repairs itself. And because nighttime is when testosterone gets regulated and vascular tissues recover, the timing matters more than you'd think. 2 weeks after starting, Jack called me. Doc, he said, almost laughing, I don't know if it's the beets or a miracle, but last night, let's just say I didn't have to avoid my wife. That was just the beginning. Jack started sleeping better, woke up with more energy, felt stronger, more focused. His confidence started returning, and his marriage got a second wind. That's the power of targeted circulation support. But it's not just beets. Let me tell you about Marvin. He's 72, a retired postal worker from Arizona. He'd been struggling with energy, drive, and frankly, he felt invisible. It's words, not mine. He told me, it's like I'm fading away. I used to walk tall. Now I feel like I shrink into the background. I asked about his diet. Turned out Marvin avoided fruit, especially anything sweet, because he was pre-diabetic. But he was also skipping one of the most powerful fruits for blood flow, pomegranate. C. Pomegranate is packed with polyphenols, natural compounds that support nitric oxide production and reduce oxidative stress in the arteries. But here's what's fascinating. When combined with a small amount of turmeric before bed, the absorption skyrockets. I recommended a warm drink, hot water, a little pomegranate juice concentrate, and a pinch of turmeric. He drank it nightly. Weeks later, Marvin was beaming. My wife said I walked into the room like I owned the place. And I hadn't felt that way in years. Why? Because better blood flow does more than support intimacy. It impacts your posture, your energy, your mental clarity. It's like flipping the switch back on. And here's one more story. Henry, 69, lived alone since his divorce. He said he'd given up, stopped dating. Didn't see the point. I don't need that part of my life anymore, he said. But I saw something else, a man who still wanted connection, but was afraid of rejection. I gave him a different kind of habit, a 2-minute nightly stretch, focused on activating pelvic blood flow. It's called the bridge pose. Gentle but effective. It increases blood to the lower body and boosts nitric oxide naturally when paired with deep nasal breathing. Henry followed it religiously, every night before bed. A month later, he told me he'd reconnected with an old friend from high school, said he felt alive again. And yes, he admitted the stretch made a difference he couldn't ignore. Now here's what I want you to take from this. These natural, bedtime habits, foods like beets and pomegranate, movements like the bridge pose can absolutely help. They support circulation, increase nitric oxide, and help restore a part of you that you thought was gone. But they're only part of the puzzle. Let me know when you're ready for part 2, where I build the bridge to the deeper solution and guide the viewer into the offer with motivational clarity. Vocadis. Continuo Chat GPT dis. Here's part 2 of the script, continuing seamlessly from where we left off. Because the truth is, while these bedtime habits can help, they only go so far if your body isn't producing enough nitric oxide to begin with. See? By the time you reach your 60s or 70s, your nitric oxide levels may have dropped by as much as 75%. That's not just a minor dip. It's a massive decline in one of the key molecules responsible for blood flow, vascular health, and yes, performance. So even if you're eating the right foods, doing the stretches, drinking the pomegranate turmeric blend, you may still be operating with a tank that's running near empty. That's what I explained to Jack, to Marvin, to Henry and to countless other men who came into my office wondering why they felt so disconnected from their strength, their energy, their masculinity. I told them the same thing I'll tell you. You need more than tips. You need a protocol. A strategy that focuses on restoring nitric oxide levels at the root, consistently and effectively. That's when I started recommending what I now call the blood flow restoration protocol. It's not just one food or one trick. It's a systema, daily approach that combines specific nutrients, nitric oxide precursors, and natural circulation activators to restore the flow where it matters most. And no, I'm not talking about medication. I'm talking about supporting your body's own ability to heal and respond without side effects, without shame, and without relying on those little blue pills that mask the issue instead of solving it. I've seen this. Protocol rebuild marriages. I've seen it bring men back to life, men who thought their best years were behind them. And because so many men have asked me to lay it out step by step, I put together a free presentation that walks you through exactly how it works. It breaks down the science, the ingredients, the timing, all in plain English. You'll find the link to that right in the description below. But before you go there, let me share one last piece of the puzzle, part most men forget, and yet it makes all the difference. When you combine the right bedtime habits with this blood flow restoration approach, something changes. Not just in your body, but in your mind. You start to believe in yourself again. You carry yourself differently. You stop shrinking away from intimacy. Start leaning in, because you're no longer hoping for the best. You're taking action now. Listen, I've worked with thousands of men over the years. I'll tell you this. No matter how long you've struggled, no matter how far you think you've fallen, it's not too late. You are not broken. Your body hasn't given up. Just been waiting for the right kind of support. And the truth is, most men never get this information. They settle. They stay silent. They live in quiet frustration. But you don't have to be one of them. You've made it this far. You're still listening. That tells me something. It tells me you're ready. Ready to take your life back. Ready to reconnect with the man you used to be and the man you still are. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to do it alone. But you do need to take the first step. So here's what I want you to do next. Click the link in the description. Watch the free presentation I've prepared. Learn how this blood flow protocol works and why it's already helped so many men. Just like you, it could be the turning point you've been looking for. Because the next chapter of your life doesn't have to be quiet, or lonely, or half-lived. It can be full, powerful, connected. You just need to decide, take the first step. The link is right below. I'm Dr. Caldwell, and I'm rooting for you.